Site content. To edit the site content on your site, you need to log into the dpanel and head over to the site content tab and click on that. It will take you down to this page. So let's go and edit one of these pages. So how to find us. So the first thing we see is the new interface. You get the save changes, apply and reset buttons. So save changes saves your changes to the page and then takes you back to that screen we were just on. Apply saves your changes and leaves you on the page, and reset takes you back to how the page was in the first place. So coming down below the buttons, we get the name of the page, we get the date it was last modified and who last modified it, and we also get some publish dates. Now these dates define when the page was initially published and when the page is due to go offline. It's quite important you keep this second one in particular up to date. A review date just says when the page is next up for review. This doesn't actually affect whether or not a page is displayed on the site, but the publish date does. The active tick box, this simply allows you to say whether or not this page should be active on the site. So over here we have our SEO section. The meta title is what appears at the top up here in the tab on most browsers, and is also the title that's seen by search engines such as Google. The second box is keywords, which is used to define keywords that are commonly used on the page, and that's simply to help Google categorize the content on this page of the site. And finally we get meta description. This is a short description that will pop up in Google when you search, and this page appears in the results. So you get that heading and then you get a block of text underneath. The notes tab is just for your own benefit. You can keep any notes in here. And then these are two custom tabs for this site. Below we have the editor itself with all the content inside. The links along the top give you options for various formats and functioning. You can paste as plain text. You can paste from a Word document, which will remove any of the word formatting that can mess up a web page. You can insert numbered and bulleted lists, block quotes, justify text, insert links, etc., etc. Very similar to a text editor on the desktop such as Word. You also have the option to view the source, so if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of how the page is laid out, that can be useful. We have here content templates, so if you're setting up a page for the first time or want to change a page, you can change it from a single column to double column on this site, or vice versa. And be careful this checkbox isn't checked if you already have content, because that overrides the current content with whatever's in the template. Next we have a few styles. So on this site we just have accordions defined, and that simply allows you to select a section of text and go style accordion, and that's now defined as accordion. If we just reset that so we're not making any changes. We also here have the various options for headings, and there's a few styles to find in here. You can choose your font, and you can also choose the size of your text. These two options are generally best left alone, and if you need a larger font, possibly consider whether it's worth having it as a heading, in which case use one of the heading tags, and changing the font style is generally not recommended. It kind of breaks the flow of the page a bit. Actually editing the page, you'll find that when you press return, you get this clear line here, which is where the editor is starting a new paragraph. So in order to avoid that, you can press shift, return, and you get a single character break, which is quite useful. And when you're done, there are save changes at the top and the bottom, which we can choose. So back on the editable pages page, this page contains a few more options. So The published icon tells us whether or not the page is published, and that is where we can tell whether the publish date has expired on the page itself. You have the active checkbox, so if we uncheck that box, the page is removed from the online version of the site. We also have an edit and a delete button. If you press the delete button, that asks you to confirm that you want to delete the page. The edit button takes you through to the edit view we were just on, and the clicking on the page name itself also takes us through to the page view. You can also search through the site, and in this select here we can check for any pages that have expired, there's none on this site, or that are awaiting authorization, which you can see job revisions is here at the moment. So that is a quick tour of the dpanel site content module.